Nice. The second largest French city on the Mediterranean coast, sunlit streets, blue waters, tourists sping wine by the sea. But behind the postcard views, something dark pulsed. This wasn't Paris with its old-school mobsters. It wasn't Marseille with its known drug routes. No, Nice had something else, something strange. People whispered about a gang, but not just any gang. This one didn't make sense. They didn't wear colors, they didn't tag walls. They didn't blast music from fast cars. Instead, they blended in. Suits, smiles, perfect French, perfect manners. Then gone. A jewelry shop robbed, no alarms tripped. A luxury car stolen, no glass broken. A shipment of cash missing, no witnesses. It felt surgical. It felt impossible. The locals started calling them Les Fantômes, the ghosts. Because every time police thought they had them, they vanished. At first, the cops laughed. Another gang myth, they said. But then, the inconsistencies stacked up. One robbery happened while the police were already on the street. Another theft occurred inside a casino, with security cameras working perfectly. Yet the footage showed nothing. Just empty air. Like the thieves weren't even there. Detectives scratched their heads. How do you fight criminals you can't see? How do you stop ghosts? And then, the violence started. A businessman, found in his apartment. No forced entry. No signs of struggle. But his safe was gone. Not opened. Not cracked. Gone. Lifted out like it had never existed. Then a tourist couple vanished. Car left behind. Wallets still in the trunk. Phones ringing to voicemail. And when one officer joked, maybe the ghosts got them, everyone went silent. Because maybe they had. Nice wasn't supposed to have gangs like this. This was a city of festivals, of light, of wealth. But slowly, shadows spread. The ghosts weren't like Marseille's cartels. They weren't like Italy's mafia. They were something else. Something unnatural. The police chief of Nice made a statement. Come. Collected. We are investigating a string of isolated crimes. The public is safe. But the officers knew. The detectives knew. And the people of Nice, they felt it too. This was no ordinary gang. And the more the ghosts struck, the more one question grew louder. Were they even human? The ghosts didn't slow down. They got bolder, faster, stranger. Every crime left investigators more confused. At a luxury hotel, a safe room disappeared. Not the money, not the jewels, the whole room. Walls intact, door untouched. But the chamber inside? Gone. Engineers checked the blueprints. They swore the room existed. But now, it was just blank wall. At the marina, 3 yachts vanished. Not stolen. Not sailed out. Vanished. Cameras showed the boats floating peacefully. Then, static. When the footage returned, the water was empty. No sound, no splash. No trace. And then came the biggest inconsistency of all. A robbery on the Promenade des Anglais. Middle of the day. Crowds everywhere. Tourists filming on phones. 1 second, a jewelry cart glittered in the sun. The next, empty. Every diamond gone. And no one saw a thing. People replayed their videos in disbelief. Frame by frame, nothing. No hand, no movement. Just gone. The press went wild. Headlines screamed. The ghosts strike again. Impossible crimes in Nice. Are the police powerless? The police chief doubled down. These criminals are skilled professionals. Nothing more. But even his own detectives weren't buying it anymore. Because something didn't add up. Something huge. Ballistics reports. Forensics. DNA. Every scene, blank. No fingerprints. No fibers. No residue. It was as if the ghosts weren't just careful. It was as if they didn't exist. Detective Marc Leclerc was the first to say it out loud. He leaned across the briefing table one night. Eyes red, voice low. What if they're not from here? The room went silent. From Marseille? Someone asked. He shook his head. No. I mean, what if they're not from anywhere we know? The laughter died fast. Because deep down, everyone was thinking it. Too clean, too precise. Too impossible. Nice was cracking. Fear spread like wildfire. Tourists stopped coming. Shops closed early. Locals whispered in cafes. The ghosts weren't just stealing money. They were stealing certainty. And then, they made their first mistake. A young woman, Elise. A waitress leaving her shift. She swore she saw them. Not faces. Not bodies. But a shimmer. Like heat rising from asphalt. Like light bending in a way it shouldn't. And she screamed. The next morning, she was gone. Apartment empty. Clothes still in the closet. Phone buzzing on the nightstand. Only one word scrawled on her mirror. Silenced. The city of Nice changed overnight. Shops closed earlier. Tourists packed their bags mid-vacation. Locals whispered in alleys, glancing over shoulders. Everyone feared one thing, being the next to vanish. The ghosts had become more than criminals. They were myth. Parents warned kids to stay inside. Couples walked home in silence. And even police patrols doubled up. But doubling up didn't matter. Because when the ghosts wanted something, they got it. At a bank downtown, security guards stood armed. Laser systems active. Doors locked tight. At 2 a.m., the vault was empty. No alarms. No footprints. No forced entry. The guards swore they hadn't left their posts. And yet, the gold bars were gone. Just like that. It made the police look useless. It made the government look weak. And the press. They fed on it. Are we safe in Nice? Screamed one headline. Ghosts or men? Asked another. Talk shows speculated live. Some said advanced tech. Some said inside jobs. Others whispered the word no one wanted to believe. Supernatural. Detective Marc Leclerc didn't believe in ghosts. But even he was breaking. He stopped shaving. He barely slept. He sat in front of crime scene photos, over and over, like they would suddenly speak to him. But all they gave him was silence. One night, his partner Claire tossed a folder onto the table. Her hands shook. Mark, look at this. Inside, maps. Pinpoints of every ghost crime. And at first it seemed random. Casinos, banks, marinas. But Claire had drawn lines. Lines connecting the crimes. And when you connected them all, a symbol appeared. Not a circle, not a square A spiral. Every robbery, every disappearance. Each one forming part of a growing spiral through the city. And the center? A place Mark knew too well. The Palais Lascaris. An old Baroque palace. Now a museum. Filled with antique instruments and strange relics. Mark stared at the map. His skin went cold. They're building something, he whispered. Or pointing to something. But before Claire could answer, the lights in the station flickered. Once. Twice. And then, the power cut out. Darkness swallowed the room. In the silence, a single sound. A soft, deliberate knock. On the glass wall of the interrogation room. Mark froze, so did Claire. Because the room was empty. The knock came again. Slow taunting. And when the emergency lights buzzed back on, there was nothing. Just one word scratched into the glass. Soon. The word burned into the palace steps haunted Mark. Awaken. But awaken what? The city was slipping. Tourists gone. Shops shuttered. Armed patrols in every district. Yet the ghosts kept striking. And this time, they didn't just steal. They broadcasted. At 3 a.m., every TV in Nice flickered on. Every screen. Every phone. Static. Then a spiral. Slow. Endless. And a voice. Whispering in dozens of languages at once. The mirror has returned. The city will awaken. Then black. Phones crashed. Cameras shorted. No trace left. The police chief panicked. Called emergency meetings. Brought in cyber units from Paris. But they found nothing. No servers. No signals. Just silence. Marc and Claire knew better. This wasn't about tech. This was about ritual. The spiral wasn't just a pattern. It was a countdown. Each crime was a marker. Each disappearance, a step. And at the center, the devil's mirror. Claire dug through archives. Old manuscripts. Dusty tomes. Anything on Les Veilleurs. And finally, she found it. A prophecy. Hidden in a 17th century diary. A scribe had written, "When the mirror is taken, and the spiral complete, the city will fold, time will turn, and the watchers will walk again." Marc slammed the book shut. Time will turn? What the hell does that mean? But Claire's hands shook. Marc, what if this isn't just crime? What if this is apocalypse? Before he could answer, sirens wailed. A call came in. Another disappearance. But this time, it wasn't random. It was the mayor. His car abandoned on the promenade. Driver unconscious. Mayor gone. And written on the windshield in condensation, not letters, not words. A spiral. Marc felt the walls closing in. Every crime, every theft, every shimmer. It was all leading to something. Something massive. Something unstoppable. He stared at the map again. The spiral was almost complete. Only 2 spaces left. 2 crimes before the circle closed. 2 moves before, whatever this was, awakened. And then, his phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. A text this time. Just 1 sentence. "You can't stop what's already begun." Marc's throat went dry. He typed back, hands trembling. "Who are you?" 3 dots appeared. Typing. Then the reply. "Look behind you." Marc spun, but the office was empty. Only the faint ripple of air. Like light bending where no one stood. Marc barely left the station. His eyes were bloodshot. His tie hung loose. The spiral was almost closed. Only 2 points left. 2 crimes before the ghost's plan were complete. But he didn't know where. Or when. Then, the call came. A guard at the Nice observatory. Panicked. Breathing hard. "They're here." The line cut out. Marc grabbed his coat. Claire followed without a word. They raced through the empty streets, sirens slicing the silence. The observatory loomed over the city. Massive. Ancient. Built on secrets. When they arrived, the gates were open. The guards were gone. Inside, the air felt wrong. Heavy. Buzzing. Like static before a storm. They moved through the halls. Flashlights sweeping. Every door wide open. Every room abandoned. Until they reached the main dome. The telescope pointed to the sky. The stars blazing. But that wasn't what made Claire gasp. It was the spiral. Carved into the marble floor. Glowing faintly. Each line humming with energy. And at the center, the devil's mirror. It had been returned. Marc stepped forward slowly. His reflection wavered in the glass. But it wasn't just him staring back. Behind his reflection, a figure. Tall. Blurred. Shimmering. Marc spun around. Nothing. Just air bending. Light warping. Then, a whisper filled the dome. "You're too late." Claire clutched his arm. "Marc, look." The spiral on the floor began to move. Lines shifting, turning, spinning faster and faster. The whole room vibrated. The telescope groaned. The glass of the mirror pulsed like a heartbeat. Mark shouted over the noise. "What are they doing?" Claire's face was pale, her lips trembling. "They're opening it." "Opening what?" Mark demanded. And then the mirror cracked. A thin fracture at first, then dozens, spreading like lightning from the cracks, like blinding, screaming. The ground shook, the dome rattled, and through the fractured mirror, Mark saw something impossible. A city, but not nice, not his nice. A darker version, twisted, burning, and in that city, thousands of ghosts, shimmering, watching, waiting. The mirror screamed one final time, and shattered. Mark and Claire shielded their faces. Glass rained down. The light died. Silence. When Mark opened his eyes, the spiral was gone. The mirror was gone. But Claire was gone too. Her flashlight lay on the marble floor. Still on. Still buzzing. And on the wall, burned into the stone, were 3 words. "I am coming."